Welcome to Super Movie Brothers. Let's start the show.
This is a podcast on the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.
Welcome to Super Movie Brothers, episode 89. I'm your host, Super Movie Brother Dave.
I'm your host, Super Movie Brother Jay.
Jay, what the fuck were you up to this week? I did not see you at all this weekend or even the week leading up.
Well, yeah, not since we recorded on my birthday, and since then I was off for the rest of the week. So we had a little snowstorm system, another one again, and then I just kind of kept me indoors for a couple days. But after that, I went with my friend to Atlantic City.
Okay.
We had a big beer fest down there.
Little golf sesh, a little bit of beer fest.
Not yet. Just lots of beer.
Okay.
It was it was good. It was good. It wasn't as crazy as I expected it to be. Because when I was there last time, like 7 or 8 years ago, I had like a group of like 40 people, like 20 people I didn't even know, but like we all had like the same shirt on. It was like really like a young,
That's too many people
big
for
group
a group
thing.
That's too many people for a group.
It was a lot.
That's too many.
It was a lot. It was like you're inviting friends of friends, and it was just like a whole big shit show.
No more than 6. Like I feel like if there's more than 6 people, I'm not paying attention to
those
the
were the
rest of
days when I'm like going to bed at 6:30 a.m. for like 2 hours until checkout, and then
fuck that. I just ribbed you for showing up here at 9 o'clock tonight because I was like, great, this means we record till at least 11, you dick. Because I am losing sleep left and right because of snow, because that makes me so fucking busy at work. But anyway, how was the Atlantic City Beer and Music Festival?
Well, I had a great time. I had a lot of good beers. Oddly, I feel like I had a lot of IPAs and a lot of
it's that season.
A lot of porters and stouts, even. So I guess from old season beers.
It's the end
as well.
of their season.
So they were probably the consistent ones that I saw a lot on tap. And I had a lot of good ones. Nothing. I can't remember if anything really overly stood out to me.
Was it like Newtown Beer Fest where like we got bored halfway through and we were like, we've had all these beers and I don't really feel like drinking anymore?
It's a big one.
Okay.
So you know, we did 2 loops.
Yeah, I was looking. It was
for
like
4 hours.
It was like over 300 vendors. It doesn't mean 300 breweries, but over 300 vendors were there. Like
there's like a lot
huge.
of activities, you know, and there's actually
there was a VR setup, like
a VR setup.
Drunk people doing VR is not smart. I hope they have their insurance up to date.
There were some activities and games there that were. I'd be vomiting if I was partaking in them. Like you're like in that blow up thing and you're trying to race somebody and you're like, you know, you're like crawling inside of this like plastic ball. Like Bubble Boy.
Okay.
And
Bubble
you're like,
Boy.
Yeah.
And like a hamster.
You got this one guy that's like doing a great job. And you got this other guy who's like literally on his ass, tumbling around. He can't even like stand up or get up. It's ridiculous.
I wonder how many people.
I'm going to be throwing up if I'm going to be in that.
If I went in that ball, that'd be the first thing I'd think of. Like how many people threw up in this ball.
Exactly.
Today. Just today
and
alone.
They had the new craze of axe throwing and stuff like that. And
like Axe body spray, just chucking it at each other.
Sponsored by Axe.
Yeah. Like stink bombs.
Yeah. So like ping pong. There was old school games. Like
you said ping pong. It reminds me of Beer Fest, which I watched this week. I was playing ping pong and ding dang.
Yeah. But what's really interesting to me was there actually was a podcast corner. So there was like maybe 5 or 6 different all beer podcast groups, you know, mostly local, seemed like.
That was Broken Goblet there?
Yes.
Okay.
Broken Goblet was there as well.
Nice.
And that was great. I got
as he unzips. So Jay got the Jason Kelsey beer T-shirt that says "No one likes us, we don't care," and it's the Jason Kelsey beer that yes. Proceeds of it go towards charity from Broken Goblet. It's the unfiltered pale ale.
Yes, and I've yet to drink it because They keep selling out of the beer. It's so good.
Did they
apparently.
have it at the AC Fest too?
They did not.
Yeah,
They
that's
did
smart.
not.
That's smart.
No, they're waiting to unveil another batch. So
Good.
I'm excited, and
Did you
I might
talk-
want to unveil a little news.
I say, did you talk to anybody? Did you network for us to find out whether we could do live shows there next year
Yes,
at a
I
beer
I have a
fest?
name who I need to talk to, but I didn't talk to the guy. So the guy that runs the venue apparently, who
So you
would
got a
book that.
name. Did you get a business card, email
I'm gonna
address?
go through Mike
phone
with that
number?
one.
Okay. All right. All right.
So
You're failing so far.
well, I talked to, unfortunately, the one guy I probably would not want to talk to.
You're my PR guy,
With-
and you're,
with the
you're
podcast.
very close to being fired.
Yeah.
Who'd you talk to about the podcast?
He was like a beer and food pairing, small time like magazine guy.
That's cool.
Who had a,
What's
had
wrong
a
with that?
small podcast.
Dude, we got like
it was like 20 minutes long normally.
we got Nick Haskins from Epic Film Guys. He has his own show, the Restaurant Podcast, where he does he does food and some drink and
But the
stuff
way he
like
was
that. It's
making
good.
it sound like, it just sounded very like corporate. Very company, just very boring,
Was
just
it
very
very-
cut and dry.
Was it very bougie? That's okay. I'm a little bougie
little
too.
bougie.
I'm a little bougie too.
But it was actually a good time, and we went to the after party at the Bally's.
What's
Festivities.
What's
like
the
we're-
ball? What's the ball?
It's a-
You mean
it's-
you mean a
it's a-
Bailey's
Bally's, whatever you want to call it. It's a casino,
hotel casino?
and they, I guess, revamped this one area where just a different couple different bars.
I don't like Atlantic City. I'm sorry.
Big
I just
stage.
like I would go there for this beer fest, but like
It's overrated.
I'm not a gambling person. Number one. Number two, like I'm just not. I don't like their beach.
It's terrible beach. It's a terrible beach.
Their beach is awful. The only like when I go there, I think of grannies in walkers and like
Mm-hmm.
and like razor scooters and stuff like that. And then like there's also like those people who, they know a guy at the hotel, right?
Right.
Because they spend so much coin at that hotel. They know a guy, the concierge. They know them by name.
Exactly.
And it just all seems like a little sleazy. Like everyone who's
Well,
there
it is.
trying to see what they can get for free. Like what can I get for free?
There's always a stank of sleaziness overshadowing the whole city.
Well, next year at the AC Beer and Music Festival, you might
Hopefully.
get me and Jay for free.
Hopefully. And we'll be sleazy all up and down that joint.
I don't know if I'll be
we'll see.
sleazy.
But
you will certainly be sleazy. You are. But if we're working it, dude, we're not going to get a lot of beer out of it.
That's fine. And I don't care.
That's going to suck for me.
Well, we'll be sipping beers occasionally, but we'll be talking about beer with other people.
I will have
and
to.
possibly, of course, some movies.
We have the ability to record, mobily with our microphones because they can just plug directly into USB, and I can just put this laptop into tablet mode. I could walk around and I can just do interviews with people too.
That would be fun.
As I'm grabbing beer. Actually, as I'm grabbing their beer.
Yes.
Question for you, since I put the microphone. Oh, I'll hold that for you.
Oh, people would eat that up. They would love that. I'm telling you right now.
Meanwhile, I walk away with.
We might reinvent the wheel down there.
I walk away with oral herpes.
We don't want that. So, I had a pretty good time. And then literally the day we got back, I went out that night because my cousin, her boyfriend is a guitarist in this great fun like party cover band. And they were local at the Eddington House. And not to jump the ship, but
Jump the ship or jump the shark?
there was a bartender there and we were vibing.
Oh, okay.
We exchanged numbers.
In Atlantic City, though?
No. Here. Eddington House. Bension.
Oh, God, that place is terrible.
Yeah,
You've taken me there.
I have.
That's the place where there was
It
too
was
many
the same
people for
band.
me to move, and
Yeah,
I was
it
just
like
like,
it was like a year ago.
that's when I realized
It was
that-
just like last time. It was packed.
that's when I realized that like Ben Salem and Levittown, same people.
It pretty much is.
Not my type of people. Not my people. These people like NASCAR. I don't like NASCAR. I don't want to be in there.
So that was kind of interesting, and we had a good time. And then met that girl, and we'll see how things go. So that was my uneventful week.
3 or
No,
4
it
episodes
was a good
ago,
time.
we talked about you trying to be friends with women first before you asked them to
Yes.
put your penis in their mouth.
and I will do my best
Yes.
to prolong the friendship until that happens.
No, I mean, yeah, don't take it to an awkward level where you're friends
I'm
on
not
yourself.
going to.
But
I'm
like,
not going to.
but like, second date, don't start doing shit right away.
Right.
Give it some time. Especially if you're vibing with her and you like her like more than just like
This is that kind of girl. No, this is real. This is like a real dick kind of thing.
Okay.
No, I'm not. This
Did
is
you
not
say
like,
a real dick kind of thing?
No, real. Hopefully, I can give her a real dick one day, but no, real date.
Okay.
I wouldn't be mentioning it on the podcast if I wasn't feeling it.
Okay,
But,
cool.
Yeah. So other than that, like that,
Take your time, bro.
my first day back to work,
Get to know a lady.
17 hours,
All right.
long first day back to work. It was rough.
That's like every day for me. I'm glad you're suffering right along with me.
Yes.
All right. Well, I mean, did you do it? That's it. I didn't really do anything. I didn't go out. I didn't really do anything. Me and Lauren actually, Target had a big sale on movies.
I heard.
And that's what we did.
I'm envious.
We went and we bought a bunch of movies. That's how we spend our tax returns now. No, they were all on sale, and like severely discounted. Like I got Dunkirk on Blu-ray, DVD copy, digital copy, and it was $10. Like they were dirt cheap at Target this weekend. So like me and Lauren were like, we got like 3 movies for like $30 because they were all marketed down. We got Thor Ragnarok, Spider-Man Homecoming, and Justice League. But I haven't watched Justice League, but I did do a lot of like rewatching this weekend. So I rewatched Dunkirk, and I watched that here in the theater today, just before recording. And I caught things that like I had missed because there's not a lot of talking, not a lot of exposition in the film.
I'm looking forward to revisiting.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like, so I didn't realize like, I realized that there was time jumps and stuff like that. But like, 1 minute it's daylight and you're on the ship heading to Dunkirk with Cillian Murphy on board. And then you're cutting and it's nighttime and and Harry Styles and the other guy are trying to survive and stuff. And that's when I realized that at one point, and I don't know why I didn't pick this up in the theater, they come across Cillian Murphy in a lifeboat.
Oh, you didn't see that?
And he's the one that tells them to you got life jackets on, bugger off. Like, and I was like, oh no. And I was like, oh, he's a dick. He's a dick this entire movie. So I don't know.
He's kind of the villain in a way.
Yeah, he's the. I don't know how he's not the villain. You can't.
Well,
you can't
not the
villain.
I know, but
you can't villainize somebody for having PTSD. You dick.
I know, but
he was shell shocked.
But he's the biggest dick in the movie.
He went through an extremely traumatic experience. Remember,
I know, but he kills the kid later on.
He had time to come down from his experience. Everyone else is still shit in it. They haven't had time to come down and live with it. We don't know how these guys are going to react 3 days from now. Like, so, but I wouldn't vilify him for that. But yeah, I didn't actually realize that. And then I did realize it, I guess, when I watched it, but it was one of those things that, like, I liked that they showed the aerial fight, right? And then they show they show the blonde pilot, like his plane, he ditches it in the water and stuff, and we know he gets stuck. But after he ditches it in the water, we don't know what happens to him. It's almost like a half hour later when we see the dogfight again from the boat.
That was
looking
cool.
up, and I thought that was really cool.
That was cool.
I mean, I don't know how I missed this stuff the first time I watched it. I mean, it might have been one of those weekends where I went and saw it like late by myself, and I was just beat. And
no, you know why? It's because there's so many cuts and so much to absorb, and in your brain thread the storylines together. Because it's not a non-linear.
It was one of those things that I was just like, I was floored with the movie again. I think I enjoyed it the second time around more than the first time. Like,
I can see that.
I don't remember getting like teary-eyed the first time I watched it, but this time, like, I got a little teary-eyed at the end. Like, especially when that final officer closes the gate and he says, "I'm going to stay for the French," and I was like, oh shit. And like, and that moment that like all of the civilian ships are coming up and they show that same officer again and he's got tears in his eyes, I was like, yeah, that's fucking. And Tom Hardy's final scene, just back and forth on the beach, no fuel, dead stick, just,
yeah,
that was badass.
Yeah,
that was bad. I wish but they didn't give us his point of view of that final like dogfight that he had when he didn't have fuel. It was only from the view of the soldiers on the beach that saw that.
Which is, again, a really cool change up because visually it was a different kind of point of view that you're not used to seeing on screen. And the way Nolan did it, I'm pretty sure practically.
But it was funny that there's no,
was really well done.
There's no follow up, right? Like there's no like words at the end of the film that say like, Admiral so-and-so who stayed to help the French died 3 days later. Like, it didn't say that.
That'd be a little much. That's too much, I think.
But I wanted to know what happened to Tom Hardy's character. Did he die behind enemy lines? How long was he a POW?
I like the way they did it. I respect it. I know.
But when it's something from,
I know it's difficult, but
when it's something from historical events, you kind of want to have like that wrap up at the end, right? Like Apollo 13 at the end, like Tom Hanks does that voiceover, does a wrap up for everybody, and I kind of liked it because it's all from true events, and you obviously can't tell someone's entire story of World War II in that, but you can do like a little brief thing that just kind of like catches you up on everything. I kind of wanted that, but you know, I'm not. It's not a knock on the film at all. I'm not lamenting its loss in the film, but I kind of wanted that, especially for Tom Hardy's character, because I think that was some of my favorite scenes. And then I watched some of the documentaries about like making it. So those two planes that they had, they actually got them from a millionaire who owns like 16 or 17 of them. The only person who owns more of those planes than this millionaire is the Queen of England.
Wow.
So it's kind of cool. And then
That's funny.
Christopher Nolan went out of his way to get actual boats that were used in Dunkirk, that were actually used to ferry soldiers across. He went out of his way to get those boats, and you know, he went out of his way to just
he
really
did impossible things on his picture.
Oh, yeah.
You know, things that were never done before, never even attempted before.
Still doesn't deserve Best Picture of the Year, but I really respect just like the level
nomination, obviously.
the level of detail that was just put into the film, and it honestly shows on screen. And one thing I didn't notice the first time I watched it, but I noticed the second time around, the ticking, the tick, 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 it doesn't stop until they're on the train and the train starts moving. It's actually underneath all the sound, all the music in the entire film, nonstop from the second the movie starts until they're on the train. You can still, even at times when explosions are going off, in like very low in the audio, you can hear,
which subtly gets in people to make them feel like on edge, you know.
And then it finally stops when they're both on the train, and it's I was like, wow.
You sold me, man. I'm ready to revisit this.
You gotta watch it here. You gotta watch it in the theater.
I definitely will.
Other than that, I rewatched Spider-Man: Homecoming and Thor: Ragnarok in preparation for our top 5 Marvel movies that we're gonna do later on. We got some squad mates who reached out to us and also gave their top 5. So I'll be reading those and giving them shout outs too, just before me and Jay give our number 1. But Thor: Ragnarok, I actually enjoyed it a second time around as well. I thought it was one of those movies that once I knew all the jokes were coming, I might not like it as much. Nope. Still found immense level of enjoyment in it.
I did as well, because I saw it twice as well.
I still had a lot of fun with it. Spider-Man: Homecoming, on the other hand, though, does not wear on me as well. Like the first time I saw it, I didn't like it that much. I remember. I don't think I gave it that high of a review. Second time I liked it a lot. I liked it a little bit more. Now that I've seen it, like I think when me and Lauren just watched it, it was like my 4th time seeing it at this point. Nah, it's not one of those ones that has staying power. It's not it's so I guess I'm bearing the lead. It's not going to be on my list.
It was close to be on my list, but it's not.
I still love the casting of Tom Holland though.
I do. And I like the way they went for it.
Yeah, that gives it's funny that like the casting can bump it up so much, and it does though. The casting bumps it up a lot.
And you know, a lot of people love or hate Michael Keaton's role.
I just like Michael Keaton. Like that's what I like the way he talks, like in real life and in film. So like I just like Michael Keaton.
Most of the movie really worked for me with him in it, and I liked it. It was definitely a unique and kind of surprising take of sorts, but like the final act got a little underwhelming between the two of them.
And then other than that, me and Lauren have been going through Santa Clarita Diet season 2.
Oh, that started.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Gets so for as weird as the first season one, it gets weirder, like super weird. But I can't help it. I love Timothy Olyphant just so much.
I know.
I love him so much.
He steals it, man.
And every time we watch it, Lauren's always like, he is way better looking than Drew Barrymore.
Oh, big time.
Yeah. So
he's a stud.
I actually find like Drew Barrymore really annoying in the show. Like I find her super annoying. I like the daughter and I like Timothy Olyphant. Like those are the characters that I'm watching it for.
I completely agree, because the first season, despite being a breezy, fast watch, I still got so annoyed with some of those things that were going on where I was almost thinking about turning it off and just not continuing it. But it was Timothy Olyphant, and like just like certain nuances of humor really got me, and I really just enjoyed it enough where I went through it, and I'm looking forward to season 2 and see how zany it gets.
And as a geek, I gotta love the fact that I won't spoil how or why or in what capacity, but a minor spoiler: Nathan Fillion is back in this season, so super happy to see him. Super happy to see him.
Oh boy, bring it on.
Jay, what did you watch this week?
Well, I'm going to quickly go through. I saw a lot since I was off, but I'm going to quickly go through things that I revisited that I enjoy. The Ice Harvest with John Cusack, Billy Bob Thornton.
Love that movie.
I love that movie. I watched it, of course, on the snow day.
Yeah, that was Randy Quaid's last good role.
Yeah, that was. I really enjoy watching that movie. It's a lot of fun.
Before he thought the Canadian Mounted Police were secretly stalking him.
Yes. Born to be Blue. Ethan Hawke plays
I'm
Chet
blue.
Baker.
If I was green, I would die. I'm a green, I would die. Like that? Is that
No. The blues saxophone.
Oh, okay.
Or trumpet player. I'm sorry, trumpet player.
Are we talking about Blue Man Group? Is Tobias Funke gonna be in it?
It's essentially a biopic of
Biopic.
and it's really a ballsy little indie film that's pretty well done. I liked it a lot. And A Solitary Man. Michael Douglas kind of plays a
Mac Douglas.
former.
Oh my God, he make me moist.
Successful car dealership owner, and he got in trouble with the legal system and pretty much got ruined. And
you know what I like about Mike Douglas? He attributed his throat cancer to giving fantastic cunnilingus.
I love him. I loved it. That was the greatest fucking response ever. He's just that guy. Like he I love him playing those.
Yeah, I got an HPV in my throat. That's because I eat pussy good.
Oh my God.
Meanwhile, his doting dad, who you can barely understand, is still standing up screaming, "I'm Spartacus," and you're just like, I love this family. Thanksgiving must be fan-fucking-tastic.
Oh, you know it. But it's an interesting little dramedy of sorts with him playing as kind of a bit of a womanizing sleazebag, and it kind of
gives fantastic cunnilingus.
Yeah, it gets dark. Yeah, so it's still worth a watch, I think. And then I revisited Winter Soldier, Captain America.
Yeah, buddy.
Definitely.
That'll make an appearance.
All my top 5.
That'll make an appearance tonight. Faux show.
And Blackfish, we saw together. This documentary that we both think.
Oh, we didn't watch it together,
should
Jay.
see.
You watched it while tied to a chair.
Well, that thing went by quick.
It did, yeah. 2 hours went by.
Really
real quick.
enjoyed it. I thought it was well done. I think it.
Did you cry? Did you?
I got choked up.
There's a few times, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you saw me. I was squirmish. I mean, I've talked about it before, but documentaries can really eat at me pretty hard.
Next up, The Cove, baby.
There's a few. My buddy was telling me about a couple that I should see. So, wacky documentaries. Some really wacky ones.
That's okay.
Like Ticklish.
Like what? Like
I think it's called Ticklish or something like that.
Is it all about people who have tickling fetishes?
Particularly a guy.
Okay, yeah. Hey, there are people who can be tickled and have an orgasm from it.
I know, but like, oh boy, this one sounded really weird. And Unsane, I just saw this in theaters. This is the Claire Foy, Steven Soderbergh iPhone-directed film.
Oh yeah, so iPhone shot, not directed. Siri didn't come to life and just like, I don't like the framing of this shot. What can I help you with, Steven?
Yes. This movie.
No, I had this image of like an iPhone X just sprouting arms. And it's just it just takes control of everything. Steven Soderbergh's locked in a closet. You will not move, Steven.
Give it 20 years.
That is the last time you ask me questions like that. I don't know what time it is. Fuck off.
This movie has some balls.
Yeah, honestly, the trailer and the premise looks interesting.
Man. I'm telling you right now. So this girl pretty much lives most people, especially females, worst nightmare. It follows her. She is a paranoid, kind of suffering from a former stalker, a little PTSD with that. And she realizes she needs to talk to somebody. Now, I really, really enjoyed this movie, despite how crazy it goes throughout the whole picture. But there are some little moments where character choices or their decisions were not quite realistic enough for me. And I let it go for movie purposes.
And because Siri ordered it.
Yeah. So she involuntarily
take your pants off and
signs
dance
off
like a
on
monkey for
some
me.
papers to be committed into a mental hospital.
Unwittingly signs papers.
Yes.
Okay.
For 7 days. And
not even a 72-hour hold? Jeez, man. They go for the throat.
well, she had a moment of violence. And I can't give you too many spoilers of reasons why.
No, it's in the trailer. That's when she
but-
punches the orderly who she thinks looks like her stalker.
Yes.
Yeah, that's in the trailer.
And, well, I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but
Err on
there
caution with
are
spoilers.
some actors in here that really do shine that I think, are just really fantastic. Joshua Leonard, who plays Stalker.
Said stalker.
I never saw him before. He is amazing. He did a great job in this movie. Jay Farrow
That's
from
because Siri
SNL,
was holding his wife and kids hostage.
He did
I
a
will
pretty
cut their
solid
throats
job.
if you do not do this performance well.
Now, as bonkers as this movie goes, you go with it because it's shot on an iPhone and it's perfectly done. And aesthetically, it looks fantastic because
Is that like
it puts you in that world
if
of
you didn't know that
paranoia.
going in?
No. No. The aesthetic alone, I would love it. I would have loved it. Yeah.
Okay. I was like,
that realistic intimacy of it all.
Because in the end, like,
Almost a little too realistic.
I don't care if you're shooting on 35 millimeter IMAX and shit like that. Like, I don't care. I just want to go see your movie. That stuff is really cool to learn on the back end. I don't give a flying fuck going into the movie.
I'm not falling for those kind of traps. I would critique the shit out of that
Because
if
other
it was
films have
bothering
been
me.
shot on iPhone to moderate and to success. Like, wasn't the Florida Project shot on iPhone or
The director's first feature, Tangerine, is shot on iPhone.
Right, okay, so-
which I
so 6 degrees of
am
iPhone? I
of
got
the way
there.
through. I haven't finished it, unfortunately, but
Must
that's
be
a ballsy
riveting.
movie. It's intriguing, put it that way. But
right.
it's definitely a harsh drama.
Okay,
Definitely check it out.
All right, there's Slick. You all done?
I'm all done.
All right, because me and you got to get into a trailer park.
I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you. I know you were right.
fucking car!
Oh, I shit my pants.
Actually, that may have been me.
Oh, you're living the dreams, DP.
Yeah.
Devil may care attitude. Strong thighs. Beautiful girlfriend.
Sorry I'm late. I was rounding up all the gluten in the world and launching into space where it can't not hurt us ever again.
Kiss me like you miss me, Red.
What in the fuxicle is this?
My name's Cable. I'm here for the kid.
What? The kid?
Move or die.
And that's one of the things I love in the trailer. From the studio that brought you The Devil Wears Prada and 27 Dresses. Not naming any other X-Men movie. The studio that brought you
Love
27 Dresses. And
We're successes.
both were successful. But I do love that. And Cable looks awesome. I find with all the final CG and stuff done on him, like he looks fantastic.
He really does.
Like the way he looks a lot.
Way better than Thanos.
You think? Like, well, I mean,
I like the way he looks a lot better.
you got to get over the fact that
no,
Thanos just has a nutsack on his chin. Just get over that. And
I'm waiting to see how it looks on the big screen. I really am. I feel like they're hiding a lot of his intimidating attributes, I guess you can say, until for the movie. Marvel likes to do that at times,
I think so. Now, like he mentions, like he wants the kid, right? And in the comics, that seems to, like, especially for like the past couple of years, past 10 years or so, that's always been like his mission. Like he's helping some kid. Most of the time it's Hope Summers, which is a daughter of Scott Summers and I believe Jean Grey in some way. And also, I mean, I don't know how they'll get around this or if it'll be part of it. If he's from the future in this film, like he is in the comics, he is Scott Summers' son. Like he is a child of Scott Summers and Jean Grey. I don't know like what level of powers he's gonna have in the film, but he is damn near like God level powerful in some ways. But the reason he has all the metal is because he suffers from the techno something virus. Like it's some virus that basically infects you with basically metal arms and stuff, makes you look like Winter Soldier. But I don't know like how they'll address all that stuff. But it's kind of odd that in this one they make it seem like he's the Terminator, like he's going after this kid, like he's out to kill this kid. I think there's probably less sinisterness behind that. He's probably the kid probably holds something that is needed for the future, if he is from the future. And the kid that we keep talking about is the kid who played Ricky Baker in Hunt for the Wilder People.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
So obviously Deadpool, and we've seen Deadpool protecting kids before. In the first one, there's that stalker pizza guy who is stalking the one girl, and he beats the shit out of him for free because that's what a hero does. He beats up 17-year-old kids. But so all that fits. But one of the things that I really liked, like the scene that cracks me up is Al, the blind old woman sitting there, and she's
that's the best zinger in the trailer.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you with that pity dick in your mouth. I'm like, that line.
She delivers it perfect.
Delivered by an old woman is just fan-fucking-tastic. And then, of course, we do get more scenes of the X-Mansion. So he goes to the X-Mansion to start recruiting people. He obviously recruits Negasonic Teenage Warhead from the first film and Colossus. But then he also gets some other ones. We know that Domino's in the film. There's some other characters. We're not entirely sure who they are, and I'm sure if you go on YouTube or you go online, you'll find complete breakdowns where people say, I think it's this, I think it's that, I think it's this person. The only other person besides Domino who's 100% confirmed is that Terry Crews is playing Bedlam. And he is a former X-Force character who, I mean, honestly, his costume in the trailer looks exactly like Bedlam from the comics. So it makes sense. Basically, yeah, he's strong. He's a strong guy. But I do like the fact that they're all kind of like these. They're all kind of like misfits in a way, like Deadpool is.
Yes, and
so
I love that part about it.
But it's kind of turning it on its head because it seems like he's assembling the X-Force to stop Cable, when in reality, in the comics, it was Cable who started the X-Force and took all these kids out of the school and made them basically like the Black Ops X-Men.
Well, I think
and Deadpool's the
probably
one who tried to kill them.
Kind of joking about it. Almost. They might make a reference to it in the movie.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
I mean, this is going to be full of tons of meta references to the comics. And I mean, it just looks like it's going to be so much fun. Now, it did have some bad test screenings.
Allegedly, yes.
And there were rumors of reshoots now. But from what I heard...
Not just normal reshoots. They're claiming that there are necessary reshoots to fix the movie because of negative test screenings.
But then I just heard that last week that there was test screenings that were overwhelmingly positive.
Exactly.
News
so were stories can be so fucked up.
So were those test screenings that were negative? Were they pre-reshoots? Then they did reshoots, and now everyone's like, "Yep, love it." Or was there no reshoots at all, other than normal pickup shots that are needed, which is normal for most major Hollywood pictures?
That's what I'm thinking. And also, comedy is subjective. But also, I think we've seen enough in the trailer where it seems to be working. Everything seems to be working. It doesn't seem like a bad sequel.
It does. I mean, I'm looking at it, and it does seem like it seems like they really amped up the budget, which is something I didn't want them to do.
A little bit. I don't think it's going to show too much. obviously, because it's only 10,000 or 10 million more than the first movie. Yeah. So I think it will overall be scaled back throughout most of the picture, but I think I'm only a little concerned about too much dialogue in the movie. Like, not enough fun action stuff. A little too much heavy dialogue.
It still looks
singers.
like fun action.
No, I know, but it does.
I love that part where he picks up the brick and he smashes the guy across the face. Tell me you got that in slow-mo. It's like, I love that.
That's the greatest thing. You can do a lot of awesome, fun comedy elements with a lot of cheap,
effects.
I mean, this is great.
Which is one of those things where it's like, right, like you bash on Wonder Woman for too much slow-mo. You bash on a lot of DC films and a lot of other superhero films and things of that ilk for their poor slow-mo. Deadpool gets a pass on it all because he gets to look at you and wink and say, like, I know you hate this. So as long as I address it, that I'm only doing it because I know you hate it, now you love me for it and throw piles of money at my feet.
Yes. And while you're at it, take a look at how toned my glutes are.
That's right. Yeah, they make a point to like really focus on the fact that he's got some great thighs, right? Like even like after the trailer plays on YouTube, it's him doing flash dance and it's the rain of bullets falling on top of him.
I love it.
It's like this weird like under yet over sexualization of Deadpool.
And I can only imagine what the end credits are going to be like, Yeah. There's going to be some end credit scenes and everything. Oh, I bet they're going to be great.
So, I mean, really, in the end, I guess before we end this trailer park, one of the things I'm really surprised about is this doesn't give a whole lot of the story away, right? Like, it doesn't tell us that Deadpool and Cable are going to team up, even though we as the audience know that that's eventually going to happen. But they're kind of leaving everything like on the table. It's
you don't have to.
There's not
with this property.
I mean, the only thing I worry about is, did we get all the funny jokes in it? I don't think we did. Even though this was a Red Band trailer.
I'm pretty confident with this.
It's pretty tame for a Red Band trailer. I'm pretty confident that May 18th, when this comes out, we're going to be at least enjoy it. I don't know if we'll enjoy it as much as the first one. I don't know if it'll be great, but I know no matter what, I'm going to have a great time watching it, and its rewatchability will probably be equal.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah,
right?
that's really all that matters.
Yeah.
All right, Jay, real quick, we got a little bit of time to get into 2 or 3 news stories. Wasn't a whole lot of like big news or anything that dropped. I just found one of the news stories extremely interesting, and me and you kind of had differing opinions on it, which is why I really wanted to talk about it. But let's get 2 of the smaller ones out of the way. The first one you have, which is about James Wan and Aquaman.
Yes, so apparently he was getting some flack on Twitter as far as not having a trailer out yet, and he went out there and because obviously it started snowballing into like, whoa, Aquaman must suck, blah blah blah, it's not looking good, they don't want to put anything out, this and that.
Shocker.
Reshoots, whatever. Like
Warner Brothers is afraid of their own property, just like they've been the entire time.
But think about it, it makes sense, right? It's a movie pretty much all probably shot underwater, but it's all VFX work,
right? But at the same time, has James Wan ever given us anything that was truly bad? Everything he's given us has been pretty much enjoyable at the least.
My thing is, this movie doesn't come out until fall. There's so much other big stuff coming out right now where you don't want to get overshadowed by those movies coming out. You want it to come out at the right time. Right, but he wants he said he wants the movie to look perfect. He doesn't want to give a smidge of a imperfection of his work, even in a trailer.
At the same time, if a trailer's not out by June for Comic-Con,
oh, it will be. Oh no, it'll be out by June for sure, no doubt.
But I mean, at this point, Warner Brothers is pot committed. They're pot committed to this director. They're pot committed to this film being their next release. No matter what, this film's gonna have to come out. And if we don't see a trailer by June, by Comic-Con, it's in trouble. Jay, you're smiling. Are you talking to that bartender? Are you texting her?
Talking to that girl.
You're texting that bartender.
Sorry.
You've been texting her. You've been texting her this whole time we've been talking.
Yeah.
Any nudes? No, I'm kidding.
No,
kidding.
no.
Good. Don't ask for any.
No, I'm not. I'm being a good boy.
Don't do that. Be a good boy. All right, Jay, I got another news story. Former Daredevil showrunner, The Knight, he wants to turn Moon Knight into a TV show, which is the fucking Marvel character that I've been championing to be turned into at least one Marvel Netflix series, Moon Knight. And if you don't know who Moon Knight is, you can Wikipedia it. But it is Mark Spector. He is a former mercenary who has made his money being a mercenary. He found some gold in the tomb of Khonshu, which is the Egyptian god of vengeance, death, and destruction, and also is the agent of Khonshu and is imbued with powers because of it. And of course, it is his job to seek vengeance against the unrighteous, which is a lot of fun. And did I mention Mark Spector has a little bit of a mental disability, a little bit of a mental disorder going on there?
I love it.
Yeah, he has some. He does suffer from dissociative personality disorder. So, formerly known as multiple personality disorder. So, it's a lot of fun. It's a bit of a crazy guy going out there. Think of Super.
That's entertaining.
Think of the Rainn Wilson movie Super.
Oh,
but with skill.
Okay.
But an actual formidable. It's Batman, but he dresses all in white because he's daring criminals to take the shot at him. Not because he wants to conceal himself in the darkness, but because he wants them to know he's coming for them. I mean, in one of the books, he cuts off.
I'm intrigued, man.
He cuts off his main villain's face and then basically places it on a statue and talks to it like a lot. A lot. Like he removes his face and talks to it. Like it's good, man.
Oh man, this could get real interesting.
Real interesting. So, but also I feel like they're afraid because they're like, oh, if we don't go dark, we can't do it at all. But let's face it, we just saw a guy's like no more than 6 months ago, we saw a guy's face get torn to pieces in The Punisher. Like why can't you do it? Like why not? You've already gone that far with The Punisher.
That's a damn good point because that got brutal.
Yeah, go that far one more time. You have Netflix. You have no holds barred. You don't have to. You can be TVMA. It's okay.
So, well, let me ask you this. So, is it dark?
Yeah,
like the whole time.
Mostly.
So it's not like Deadpool dark or Deadpool humor mixed in or anything like that.
It depends what Deadpool. It depends what Moon Knight series you're
because Deadpool gets graphic, but I mean I'm trying to get like a tone here. Like what kind of tone?
So he has like multiple people that he plays. Like he plays like a taxi cab driver who like gets information from people. Then he plays like there is
like a psychological
right.
Okay.
There's the Moon Knight that goes out like Batman and beats people up, but there's also the other version of Moon Knight who's kind of like a Sherlock Holmes, who kind of like wears a top hat and like a white suit, and he walks up to crime scenes and he investigates shit.
Sign me up. I'm on board. Let's go. Come on. Start rolling cameras. Let's go.
A really awesome storyline is for a while he was a secret Avenger in the comics, which meant that he worked for Captain America's secret organization of Avengers that were Black Avengers.
I cannot imagine Captain America approving this guy.
So like, and that was when he was at his most mentally healthy, but then he kind of falls off his meds and stuff like that. And he has an entire arc, like a 6-issue arc where each arc he's defeating villains and he thinks he's a different Avenger each time he's doing it. One of them he's Wolverine, one of them he's Captain America, one of them he's Spider-Man, one of them it's like all these different facets of the character, and like it's so deep and so fun, but also like dark, and I feel like it could marry all that stuff that Netflix has kind of dropped on their second seasons. That like I feel like they could do it better in this. Like just make it, just fucking make it. Just give us one season of Moon Knight, and that's all I need. And he teams up with the Punisher a fair bit in the comics, I should say.
Which sounds about right. I can see that.
So. Jay, one final news story. This is one that you tweeted out and you wanted me to check out, and me and you completely, absolutely disagreed on. Steven Spielberg apparently doesn't think that Netflix movies should get nominated for Oscars.
Yes.
So I thought this was interesting because for you kind of saw like a level of agreement with that statement. Like you felt like
it took a little bit.
It makes sense.
It took me aback. Like I was really shocked to read that, and it made me.
Well, before
I had to think about it for a little bit.
Before I completely vilify him, he thinks they should be nominated for Emmys instead because it's basically like a network, and it's
he essentially
network
says
TV.
if you're committing to having the movie come out only in a TV format, then it should be in the Emmy category.
What about Mudbound, who had that did have a minor theatrical release?
Same thing, probably. Oh, you mean
Mudbound had a theatrical release. There was certain theaters that were showing Mudbound.
I don't. We'll have to call up Steven and find out.
What about Amazon? That is Amazon Prime that is releasing films and then 2 months later putting them for streaming.
Well, maybe he is actually counting those people. I don't know. He might be actually counting those kind of.
I need these clarifications.
I don't know, but it opens up a discussion, which is what we're doing right now. And I think it's one of those things where
I have big problems with this.
Okay,
because I don't feel. First off, the way that we as a society consume our media is completely changing. It is. It's been one way for a very long time, since the 1920s. About you go to the theater, you see a movie, you pay for that movie.
But these movies are made to be seen in the movie theater.
85th Oscar this year, right? Mudbound wasn't made to be seen in the movie theater. You could have seen it. It would have been the same as any other film that came out. What separates Mudbound?
Only in New York and L.A.
What separates Mudbound from 12 Years a Slave? The fact that Netflix bid higher than Paramount for it? Yeah, that's the only thing that separates it, is that Netflix bid higher and someone went with the highest bidder. So now we're getting into capitalism, which is what is the backbone of fucking America.
Which is pretty much what Steven and George Lucas and James Cameron all have a hand in, is because
Perfect. You're getting to exactly what I want to talk about. I can't trust anything this guy says because so much of his bankroll, so much of his financial portfolio is tied into the theater system. He's developed some of the technologies that are used in the theater system.
Yeah.
So if you're not paying to see a movie theater, if theater ticket sales are at an all-time low, he personally suffers because of it.
Right.
So for him to make this comment comes from a place.
It comes from a personal financial
place. Exactly.
So
if I'm a bubblegum salesman and I don't want you eating Tic Tacs because Tic Tacs aren't bubblegum, that comes from a personal place, right?
Yeah.
If I attack Tic Tacs and I go, you know what? Tic Tacs are an inferior candy for your mouth. They're terrible and they're tiny. I got big bubbles you can blow. Come over here, people.
No, I
right.
Look,
it's the worst analogy ever. First off, terrible analogy.
It is terrible, but I'm actually still thinking about, like, when I sent that tweet out to you. That was probably after
you wanted
30 seconds.
Did you want me to anger me? Because it literally angered me. I was like, I can't believe this moron fucking believes this shit.
Well, I didn't overly think about it like you did until after the fact, when I started realizing the big picture. I just was more taken aback by what he actually said, because Steven Spielberg does not make comments like this ever.
Right.
It's extremely, extremely rare. So it was one of those things where I was really just shocked and taken aback, and I really just wanted you to have some kind of comment or response to it.
And I did. So here's the thing. You and I just sat down and we watched Blackfish after recording.
By the way, I love your shirt.
Thanks. My shirt is a Disneyland Resorts shirt, and it has Stitch in tie-dye on it.
It's very cool.
I love Stitch. So anyway, so you and I watched Blackfish last week right after recording. CNN Films, a network, won an Oscar.
Well, documentaries don't go on the big screen.
But they do. There are documentaries. I can go down to Ritz 5 and there will be a documentary playing. They do go on the big screen.
I guess.
Super Size Me won.
You really got to see
Super
it
Size
out,
Me won an Oscar and was on the big screen.
Yeah, well, that was.
I don't like Morgan Spurlock, but it did.
It's just so hard to find documentaries though.
HBO films have won Oscars, and then but what I'm saying is it's coming from
documentaries aren't really made to be taken in that kind of context in a movie theater.
But it's just the first step in a changing medium,
right? I mean, it's really a challenging conversation because there are a lot of variables in play, you know, as far as
the
spectacle, sound quality, visual quality.
No, the only variable really in play is people's money. Because I'm not like you. I can get the same level of enjoyment from a film at home because I
do love the movie theater experience. I still really do.
So do I. Because that's the only way I can see that film before anybody else. That's if I wanted. Like I'm going this weekend to see Ready Player One. I can't see Ready Player One at home. I have to pay $30 to go see it.
I am going to be so out of touch. I feel like in that movie. I feel like there's going to be so many references that I'm not going to get.
But there I am giving Steven Spielberg my money when I vehemently disagree with the man and everything he's saying. But
again, that's a movie. Like I said, I feel like you should see it in a movie theater.
Okay, but let's talk about a film and having like a film experience more so than a theater experience, right?
What, like Manchester by the Sea, for example?
No, that was in the theater too. But I mean, like, let's say you have an experience with a film that makes you feel a certain way, and it's nominated for an Oscar, right? Like, should it not be nominated for an Oscar because you had that real feeling in the comfort of your own home? While like, should that knock it down a peg? Should that make that any less of a film because it was seen on a 50, 52, 60, 80-inch screen at home rather than a 30-foot screen in a theater? The only thing keeping theaters in power is the fact that they get movies before the rest of us can consume them. A vast majority of films would be viewed at home.
And we kind of briefly touched on that with
our very first episode of this show. We touched on that. We talked about the changing world of the industry of the movie industry.
Yes.
With streaming services. Our very first episode we talked about this.
And you're starting to see it not just because of studios getting behind their own streaming services, but also actors as well.
In part, you were in agreement with me that like it was changing and it's possibly for the better, but at the same time you still held to the same thing. There's certain things you can't get at home that you can get in the theater.
Yes. I'm conflicted. I really am. I have been from the get-go. It's something where like I do love and I do, cherish the moments in theaters, seeing certain movies in particular in the movie theater.
It's going to be
but I do also really enjoy watching things at home in my particular TV that I like to watch movies on and stuff like that. And your own comfort where you can, shamefully cry, like ugly cry at, and not have to worry about it in the movie theater.
Difference between me and you is I do that in the theater. I don't give a fuck.
It's harder for me to like go like that in the theater, but
so there you are. You're having a movie experience, but you're not having a genuine one because you're not acting the way you want to because you're in a public setting.
Perhaps
don't
there might be a little bit.
Like, what about the comfort of just being at your house where you're the most comfortable, right? Where you're at the most emotionally relaxed and enjoying something. There's something to be said for that as well. Beyond sound quality.
Maybe I'm just blind and deaf and I like a big screen and loud noise.
Maybe you are. I'm going to put a poll up on Twitter. I want everyone to reach out.
I would love that. I would love to see that poll.
And let us know. Do you prefer going to the theater to see a film? Do you prefer seeing it at home? But I think I don't want to phrase it that way. I think I want to take Steven Spielberg's
comment. You got to frame it the right way, yeah.
And I want to phrase it in the way that, do you think this is right? Do you think it's right that films that were created by a streaming service or produced by a streaming service should not win Oscars? I think that's the way I'll phrase it, because I guarantee it would be completely different if I phrase it as, would you rather see a movie in a theater or at home? Maybe I'll do 2 different polls and we'll see what comes out, because that would be kind of funny if people say I'd rather see it in the theater, but I'm okay with streaming services winning Oscars, because then it's kind of like diametrically opposed to one another. All right, Jay, let's head over. Let's get into some beers and let's get into our MCU drunk scene.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Justin. We are the Epic Film Guys, and we'd like just a moment of your time to talk about an extremely important event coming up this May.
Last year, we hosted the Live Stream for the Cure, a 12-hour live stream fundraiser where we raised $2,500 for the Cancer Research Institute.
86 cents out of every dollar raised goes to research toward finding a cure.
And this year, we're aiming to smash that goal, and we need your help to do it.
Join us from May 18th through the 20th for 30 hours of amazing live stream content from us and a whole host of amazing podcasters who will be joining us to try to reach $5,000.
And for more information, please visit www.livestreamforthecure.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Welcome back to the beer segment. Me and Jay got 2 new craft beers that we're going to review for you. But before we get into that and keeping the theme with our all MCU this month, I have a special drunk scene in which someone doesn't get drunk.
Dr. Erskine said that this serum wouldn't just affect my muscles, it would affect my cells. Create a protective system of regeneration and healing, which means, I can't get drunk. Did you know that?
Your metabolism burns 4 times faster than the average person. He thought it could be one of the side effects. It wasn't your fault.
Did you read the report?
Yes.
Then you know that's not true.
You did everything you could. Did you believe in your friend? Did you respect him? Then stop blaming yourself. Allow Barnes the dignity of his choice. He damn well must have thought you were worth it.
I'm going after Schmidt. I'm not gonna stop till all of Hydra's dead or captured.
And that is just about the worst thing that could ever come from a super soldier serum, is the fact that you can't get drunk. All the strength in the world, and you can't even wallow in your own sorrow.
You got such a high metabolism. All you gotta do on your downtime is eat, just to keep up that muscle.
So this scene is obviously in Captain America, the First Avenger. This is right after the supposed death of Bucky, when Cap goes to a bar and tries to drink his troubles away and realizes that he can't get drunk because of the high metabolism, as he says. And I take away one thing from this: like, you don't think of Chris Evans having aged that much throughout these films, but like when you see him in First Avenger, like, my God, like, he's like a baby. Like,
yeah,
he's like our age when he filmed those.
Probably, yeah. He's definitely
he's in his early. He's in his.
But I think
he's 40 now. But
it's enhanced the films, I think, in a lot of ways, right? I kind of like seeing him a little bit more mature looking almost as the movies progress, because it kind of goes along with the character.
For a guy that doesn't age?
Yeah, I'm putting that aside. I get that.
The guy doesn't age yet.
He still looks good. You know, he doesn't look like he's aged that much, but you can see there's some kind of weatherness, like weariness.
Certainly,
as far as, like,
he has
history.
aged better than you and I have.
Well, certainly.
And then it's after Avengers Infinity War, the Avengers 4, the sequel to Infinity War, that's his last one, according to him. He's done. He's done after that. He's had enough of the yo-yo diets. He's had enough of carrying the shield, of just these big productions and stuff like that. He also is a writer and an aspiring director himself. He wants to get his own voice out there. And
he's
stuff
put
like
his
that.
time in. He's done a great job. Is very publicly known to have such a conflicted time with deciding to be Captain America to begin with. So.
There's even a lot of
something he regretted, but it's definitely something that you could tell that, like, someone who conflicted with that decision for so long probably has other aspirations in the future to do.
Right. And I think now, like, this at the end of his career, it's kind of funny that, like, now we're like, oh man, I couldn't really imagine someone else being Captain America. Like, if they brought someone else in to play Steve Rogers. But then you flash back to 10 years ago when they announced the casting for it. Everybody was up in arms. Everybody hated it. Everybody was pissed off at it because this guy was already a Marvel hero. Like, he was already Johnny Storm from the Fantastic Four films. So, like, people were kind of like, oh man, it's so jarring. Even though they existed in 2 separate universes at the time, it was jarring for some people, and they didn't want it until they saw it. And then everyone's, no, he is Captain America. Like, he embodied it so well. It was amazing.
Absolutely. All
right, Jay, you got a beer that you're going to review. What do you got over there?
I have Abita's Turbo Dog. It is a interesting brown ale. It's 5.6 alcohol by volume. It has a great nose, a lot of toffee kind of aroma to it, a little bit of chocolate. It's really, really dark, almost like a kind of like a Guinness of sorts, but more like a brown frothy top, and it's got some good body and it's rich, but it's so drinkable where I'm surprised it doesn't have more of a flavor punch to it. But I do really enjoy it, and I'm going to give it a solid 3.5. I think it's something that I was expecting to be a little bit more flavorful, but it just didn't quite have that. But it's still very nice.
It's got a nice label.
It's a nice beer.
I like the label. That's about it.
It's great.
It's got a doggy on it.
Nice
I love doggies.
Having fun.
Oh, look at him. He's such a good boy.
Oh.
Such a good boy. That's for you, Chris. So I am drinking, and I fucking want to smash this bottle over Jay's face and then rake the sharp ends across it. Jay got me the Allagash 16 Counties, and this is a sour ale. So fuck you.
That was my bad. I was thinking it was going to be a little bit more of like a grapefruity pale ale.
No, man.
I did not read the label well enough.
This is heavily malted with grapefruit extract as well. Extract, not even the actual grapefruit. It is 7.3% alcohol per volume. And you know what? The first sip was fucking atrocious because you get that heavy punch of grapefruit citrus, and that to me always tastes like vomit in my mouth. Like when you like throw up and then force the throw up back down, you swallow it down. Yeah, that's what grapefruit tastes like to me. It's absolutely disgusting.
That acidicness.
Yeah, but then you drink it for a little while, just like grapefruit juice, and you just kind of like get used to it. So a couple sips in, and it kind of marinades well in my mouth. It's not as harsh as that first sip that I took. So I'm probably just gonna go with like a 2.5, just like middle of the road. It doesn't really wow me. And that tough first sip just really takes it out of me. I'm just not a huge fan of it.
That's sours for you.
Well, I mean, I can like a sour every now and then. There's a few sours that I do like. It's just and this isn't even like lip puckering sour, you know? Like it's not like a goes or anything like that. It's a sour ale. So it most of the sourness is coming from the grapefruit, which is why you get that heavy acidicness like taste to it. Like I just like swallowed battery acid. It's just not great. But it's my beer, and I guess I have to finish it.
My bad.
Now, Jay, we're going to head over, and we're going to get into our top 5 MCU films. And we also asked everybody for their submission for their top 5 films. So we're going to be giving shout-outs and reading off some other people's lists. So make sure that you stay tuned.
Yes. Looking forward to that.
It's time to do our top 5, Jay. So here we are, 4 weeks before the release of Avengers Infinity War. We did the trailer park for the final trailer last week. We're both pretty amped up. And what does that mean for every MCU fan? It means it's time to go back and revisit the entirety of the MCU, which I will be doing with my wife, and then also airing on this show, Wes from the Via VHS podcast and John from Now in Technicolor are going to be our main segment for 3 weeks in a row. Will be a recapping and discussion and kind of like a mini review on Phase 1 of Marvel, Phase 2 of Marvel, and Phase 3 of Marvel. Everything that led up to this Avengers Infinity War. But before we get into that, me and Jay got to do a top 5.
Oh.
So Jay.
How can we not?
18 films to choose from. 18
Yeah.
Marvel films, 10 years in. What are the top 5 for you? So let's get started with your number 5, man.
Number 5 was my most challenging slot, but I ended up going with the most rewatchable one, I think, for me, that I enjoyed thoroughly, mainly because of 2 characters that I thought were so well done and so different than we have seen so far on screen.
I keep telling you, Timon and Pumbaa are not in the MCU.
Thor Ragnarok. I absolutely adored Thor and the
Korg.
Hulk in this movie.
You didn't enjoy Korg?
Well,
Piss off, Ghost.
he was great.
Oh, no.
I mean,
Meek, I stepped on him on the bridge. I squished him. He's dead.
I didn't love his last line, though. I didn't like that final joke, though, in the
Meek,
movie.
you're alive? I love that. I love. He's starting a revolution, man.
right.
He's starting a revolution.
It was all right. It was all right.
I'm glad you enjoyed that so much, because so much of the shit you talk about on the show doesn't lead to fun, and that is a ton of fun
because of Taika Waititi. I really feel like his comedy.
You do
fits
enjoy
me.
him a lot.
I do enjoy him a lot. For some odd reason, his comedy just kind of works for me.
Here's why I'm hoping when we eventually get back into doing movie homework, which next week, before we start doing our Marvel phases, me and Jay will be doing all 3 50 Shades movies for a movie homework as given to us by Justin from
I got to get on top of that.
I know. We got to watch them this week. It's going to be tough because I start my Marvel rewatch this week too. So busy week for me.
It's going to be tough.
In watching. But so much, one of the films that you're going to get in your movie homework is Dead Alive, and that is a Peter Jackson horror comedy, and he's from New Zealand. Taika Waititi's from New Zealand.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that there's some sort of connection with that
you're
level
trying to give
of
me
comedy.
some hope. Okay,
yeah. There's some sort of connection with that level of comedy.
I'm intrigued to see what
going.
Peter Jackson does in his early years like that with that kind of material. So,
well, I'm just really happy that that you found joy in it, because when we reviewed it, there was a few things that you weren't crazy about, but I don't know. I'm just surprised. I'm surprised.
Well, I saw it twice, and I saw both times in theaters.
So have I now. I watched it this week for the second time.
Looking back, like I said, I had a few films on and off my number 5. But really, what really just stood out was I think this movie is going to hold up for rewatchability. And also the comedy worked. And the fact I loved the Hulk in this movie so much, and their dynamic with Thor, and Thor, his character finally having a great...
They're just dumb children. Like, they're just dumb kids.
But it works for the character in a lot of different kind of ways. And
back on Earth, they call you the stupidest Avenger. Hulk don't care. Wait, Hammerman, come back. I love the ending when Serta, the guy with the skull helmet, comes back, and he's the giant fire monster, and Hulk just jumps up and starts punching him, and Thor calls him back, and he's just like, big monster. For once, Hulk, don't smash.
Yes.
But big monster.
And Kate Blanchett was all good fun in that movie.
Decent
as well.
villain, not a bad villain.
I'm not raving about her, but it was fine enough. It was fun. It was just a fun movie. I really enjoyed.
A lot of fun to be had in that one. My number 5 is one that's also a lot of fun. It is Guardians of the Galaxy. And
not on my list.
But it's just the first one. I've rewatched the second one a few times now, and I don't know what it is about it. It's almost like it tried too hard to be the first one. It's like it tried too much to be, and Baby Groot got a little bit annoying after a while. And
kind of what I'm a little worried about with Deadpool 2. Slightly.
Kind of what I'm worried about when they show up in Avengers Infinity War, because me and you already talked about Chris Pratt's little joke that he has with Tony Stark, and not thinking that was really all that funny either. So it's,
we'll see how the writing is.
We'll see how the writing is. But as far as the first one goes, it's just the soundtrack still holds up. All the scenes, all the comedy scenes, they still hold up. Rocket still holds up. Groot still holds up. And just everything about the film is just, it was so different than anything else that had come out in the superhero genre up to that point, that it really was, original at the time. So I had a lot of fun. Every time I go back to that, I still laugh. I don't laugh at Guardians of the Galaxy 2 when I go back to it, but I still laugh at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 when I go back to it, especially that climactic scene, that final scene against Rodin.
And that's important, man. These movies need to have lasting power and great rewatchability.
That's what this list is. This list for me is not, are these technically the best Marvel films? No, but these are the most fucking watchable ones to me. These are the ones that I don't mind watching a lot.
Yeah, likewise.
So what do you got next, you turd blossom?
The Avengers.
Number 4. All right.
Number 4. Yeah. I really do adore this movie. I mean, this movie just shocked the hell out of me as far as how well Joss Whedon balanced every character and did it in such an efficient way. And Loki being great at a villain, and
he was,
throughout the whole picture, and it was a lot of fun.
Any villain who can get away with calling the lead woman a mewling Quim aces in my book.
But it was also the first picture where the Hulk was perfectly done.
You ever notice you say picture a lot? Like that is the upper echelon society way of talking about a movie. It's a movie.
That's my style.
I'll even accept film, but I feel like every time you say the picture, you have to like put your fucking pinky in the air a little bit. But we can talk about this movie one together because Avengers is my number 4.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you were giving me shit for being on number 4. Okay.
No, it's number 4. Its rewatchability is up there. But for me, it feels a little dated now when we go back and watch it, right?
A little bit.
Because it's an ensemble cast, but we've seen another film in the MCU do ensemble better. And for that reason, I put that other film higher on the list and this one a little bit lower. Now, it's here because this is the first time that all of them are together. It's the end of phase 1. Everything was leading to this point, and it was just amazing to go and see it. And the score is amazing, and Joss Whedon did knock it out of the park. But let's face it, what has Joss Whedon really done that's been amazing since this film? Age of Ultron will not be on either of our lists. I can 100% guarantee that. And it wasn't really on anybody else's list that wrote it in, because it's not that it's garbage or dog shit. It's just nowhere near the caliber of anything else in the MCU.
That's hard to follow up.
Yeah. And then, like, you know, we know that he went on and he's directed parts of Justice League, 20% of it at the very least. And now he's pretty much been fired by WB. Warner Brothers put the whole entire blame of Justice League solely on his shoulders, even though the film that they had before that with Zack Snyder was apparently shit as well. They're putting the blame on Joss Whedon, and
now they hired him to fix it, essentially, right?
Right.
There was only so much you can do, and that was a bad production overall, and bad luck too. Really, it's just a lot of bad luck, bad time. You know, I don't know. There was a lot of variables in play with that.
Here's hoping Joss gets back to his own creator-owned stuff, because I think when he's playing in that world, he does the best when he gets to develop a character from the beginning, create a story around that character. I think that's when he does the best. But Avengers, yeah, man, that's fucking awesome. And that guy over there, he's playing Galaga. You can thank me. Tony Stark is at his most Tony Starkness in that. It's really like the last time we get to see him being a full-on, like...
Tony Stark.
Yeah, full-on dick, though. Like, dick Tony Stark dick.
Right.
Not like dick government stooge dick.
Yeah. But I think a smooth transition for me on my number 3 is Captain America Civil War.
Okay.
That's my number 3 because...
That is the ensemble cast that I think did it better than the Avengers. When I go back and watch the Avengers...
And that's why it took an edge, because I think, well, obviously it has even more characters to play in that wheelhouse.
But it did it more balanced. Like, it felt more balanced.
It did, and in such a large scope. The more I think about it, and I know it's a conflicted villain with Daniel Bruhl playing... his role, and
no, other than Killmonger, that might be my number 2 villain.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I actually really enjoyed him. I mean, I looking back on it after rewatching the film, I think it makes sense.
That's the best at the end when he's just like, "Did you really think you would win?" He's like, "Didn't I?"
Well,
like, where are your Avengers?
That was a nice little line, right?
Yeah. He succeeded in breaking them up.
A lot of people were giving it shit, though.
Why?
You don't remember that? I don't know.
No, well, people were giving it shit because most of the stuff that happened weren't by his design. Those were they were like happenstances that wound up fitting into his plan better than his probably original plan was. But who cares? I mean,
well, he wanted to stir things up. He stirred it up.
It's almost like he was MCU's like Joker. Like he had this plan, right? He was this broken man with a plan. But in the end, we find out the Joker doesn't really have a plan. He's ad-libbing all of it pretty much. Yeah. And in this, they tried to make it seem like it was this tight, orchestrated plan. And when you really look at the film under a microscope, that kind of falls apart.
Mm-hmm. And just, marrying all the tones of light and dark and with the characters and the storylines, my God, was it fun to watch. And, the fight sequences were really, really strong, well done. I loved the final.
Hands down.
Duel between Cap and Iron Man.
That's the one that pulls at your
Winter
heart.
Soldier, because it got emotional.
Right.
After the fun at the airport, you end with an emotional fight sequence.
Was it fun at the airport? Because Rhodey got fucking gatted.
Wow.
Was it fun?
I mean, I could have gotten there. Yes, that was tough.
I did. The airport is one of those things. It's 20 minutes in the middle of this movie that is sheer fun and pleasure, and it's like you feel like you're watching the Russo brothers sit there and play with action figures, and they're making them do the things that are so cool to watch.
It was like Marvel, like, okay, you know what? Let's have a load of fun and give it to the fans. Like, let's just have fun. Let's just throw some coin down. We have this space of an abandoned airport apparently, and just kind of go crazy.
And the first time we see Paul Rudd with all the rest of the Avengers,
sure,
he holds his own. Like he's funny still, and he seemed less forcefully funny like he was in his own film. So I really enjoyed that. Does anyone have any orange slices? I love that.
That was because we love that, because that was our day and age of halftime snacks. You know, when the moms were bringing, here's your oranges, boys.
I remember 2-a-days for football. Load up on the orange slices. But yeah, Civil War, absolutely, fucking love Civil War.
On your list?
It is, but not here.
Okay,
not here. So I guess I will get into my number 3. My number 3 is the most recent MCU film, Black Panther.
Nice.
I fucking loved Black Panther, dude. Like, I saw it twice in the theaters. I enjoyed every minute that was going on screen. My only downside is, like, we got the real characterization of T'Challa in Civil War. In this one, we didn't get a whole lot of him, right? We were just watching him really. It was the rest of the cast that I fell in love with. It was everybody else in this film that I loved. That really drew me into it, and obviously the villain, best MCU villain that they've had, since Loki, in Avengers, and
definitely.
I loved Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger.
This was a strong contender for number 5 for me. You know,
is it just too recent? Is that why you don't put it on there?
Possibly,
because I think even looking at it, it might be one of the best technical films that MCU has as well.
Possibly.
Okay.
Yeah, it could very well be that.
I can't knock you for that, because I'll be honest, that's why Thor Ragnarok's not on my list, because it's just too recent. It's just, when I watched this, like, I left the theater just feeling in such a way. I loved that dueling ideology of them. I
also went with rewatchability, and I thought that I would be wanting to watch Thor Ragnarok over Black Panther more, so that's why it edged it out as well. Let me ask you this, though, because the more I think about the picture as it merits,
the picture.
I had to throw it out there again.
He didn't put his pinky up, everybody.
No, but I did it to make you laugh. But 3 fight sequences in the water to be king. A little much?
No,
and do you think they executed them well enough?
No, it's only 2. It's only 2.
Is it?
He fights the white
3.
He fights the white ape guy. Then he fights Killmonger and loses. And then at the end, he fights Killmonger on the train tracks.
I thought there was 3 times they fought in that water.
No, just 2.
Okay.
Just 2.
Well, I was never too crazy about them.
They Rocky 3'd it, man. They Rocky 3'd it. He lost to Clubber Lang, and then he came back.
Yeah, but at the same time, oh gosh, that was some of the little things that bothered me. Is like, I didn't think he was that great of a fighter.
He was.
No, he should have lost every single time.
Just because Killmonger's better doesn't mean he's not that great of a fighter.
And why? Because he knew his own little world.
But Killmonger,
of the technology.
Now we're not even doing our list.
I know. I'm sorry. But these are just questions that start marinating every time. For
Killmonger was visceral, right? Like he was hungry.
Yes.
Like he had a chip on his shoulder.
Sure.
He was going for broke.
Which understands for that fight sequence. You're right.
Black Panther wasn't.
And I'm skipping now towards
just like Rocky 3.
The final
Rocky wasn't hungry no more, man. No one gave Mickey a heart attack yet.
Yeah, Rocky needed that Philly cheesesteak again. God damn it.
No. Rocky doesn't eat. You look at that physique in Rocky 3.
God.
He never touches a cheesesteak.
He never touches the cheesesteak. No.
Go to your number 2.
I am Iron Man.
Did you try to do like a Black Sabbath thing?
Sort of.
It failed.
I'm terrible.
Yeah, it did. Maybe I'll actually pull that audio for you. No, don't do it again. For Christ's sakes, don't do it again.
This is why you do voice impressions. I can't do them anymore. Ever since I hit puberty, can't do it. Now I got to fucking
pick up women the old-fashioned
NPR
way.
voice now.
Jay can't make them laugh anymore.
I gotta go Michael Douglas style. Cunnilingus.
Hey, ladies, I can move my tongue like a hummingbird. Think about it. Like a hummingbird wing.
So, the movie that started it off, Iron Man.
Iron Man. Yeah.
John Favreau just blew the doors off of this franchise and this world for us. And I thought Robert Downey Jr. was a perfect casting. He did an exceptional job leading this movie, being fun in the movie, being dramatic in the movie.
Yeah, my only knock on the film is that it is a paint by numbers origin story. Like that's my own. He's not a paint by numbers hero or a paint by numbers like main character, but
and I'm fine with that.
It's a paint by numbers origin.
But this movie, I thought, was so well done with it, and
what about Obadiah?
The rewatchability of it is fantastic.
What about Obadiah the dude Stan? Yeah,
there's some flaws with that.
You get me Jeff Bridges. Like I expected so much more from Jeff Bridges.
That's because he didn't have hair.
That's
half of Jeff Bridges is his hair.
Well, man, that's like your opinion.
I love his hair. That's really what it comes down to. I love Jeff Bridges'
hair.
I
love Iron Man. I absolutely fucking love Iron Man.
And I adore, their relationship between he and Pepper, and I just really love this movie, man. It's one of those movies that, like, in a final scene, oh god, it was just such a great way to end
that really was,
and kickstart everybody's just uber excitement.
10 years ago, honestly, if Iron Man didn't end with that scene,
oh man,
I don't know if that film would have been that big of a success, right? And I don't know if the MCU would be where it is right now.
I was hype as fuck.
Yeah, but
oh my god, that was the
that
coolest way to end that movie.
But that fuck it, I am Iron Man thing. He doesn't say fuck it, but yeah.
Yeah, but that's pretty much what it is. And I love that.
And he drops the mic and just fucking walks away.
Yeah.
If that line didn't happen, if they didn't let Favreau do that, if they didn't do it wouldn't the whole MCU might be completely different. They might have had they might not have had a film that contended with The Dark Knight that year. I don't disagree with you for Iron Man being your number 2. It does deserve to be up there. It's not up there for me because in the overall everything that we've seen now,
it's understandable.
I feel like the MCU has gotten better at times. It does take steps back with some of its films. Like I feel like Doctor Strange was a bit of like a step back. It was interesting, but it wasn't great. I do feel like it takes like these minor steps back, but Iron Man definitely set the stage. And I get why you put it on your list, but like I said, rewatchability for me, I can't go back and rewatch that one too much, right? I can't watch the origin story over again. I do get a little tired of Tony's schmooze. Like I get a little tired of it at times, which is one of the reasons that I can't go back and see a film with like that just stars him, right? Like I'm kind of happy the Iron Man films are done and they ended them with 3. And let's face it, 2 and 3 were nowhere near as good as 1. There's a reason that neither of them are on our list and really aren't on anyone's list that we're going to be reading off. All right, Jay, my number 3 is one we already talked about, Civil War. Russo brothers, again, knocked it out of the park. We know that the airport scene was amazing. But the one aspect that we didn't touch on before that I really want to talk about, Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan's relationship.
Oh, gosh.
I still crack up at their little quips at each other. Can you move your seat up? No.
That came out of nowhere and was so perfectly timed in the movie because, Cap is having a little moment with the girl and are they going to kiss? And then all of a sudden you got these two old best friend.
And we talked about it when we reviewed it. Yeah. It's
it's
that moment that and you've had this moment where you get your new boyfriend and your old boyfriend together, right?
Yeah.
You get your guy friends together and one of them is
it's like you and Jay, my birthday.
That's what I'm saying. You've had this moment. You've had this moment. I mean, we didn't have quips. We had words and fists and almost got thrown out of a bar because we almost got into a fight. But we had some shit, some shit. And that's something you can really relate to. And that's the little things that I like being put into these films. It's like, yeah, it's about superheroes and you might not be able to relate to having powers, but you can relate to the emotions that they feel and to these moments that they have, which are very much like anybody else has. And then there's also the scene when Spider-Man is basically beating them both up. Like, I love that moment that Winter Soldier throws the punch at Peter and Peter just bends his arm back and you're like, oh yeah, he is strong. Like he doesn't realize how strong he is because he's a dumb fucking kid.
But the Winter Soldier realizes, he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he gives that look, which is great.
And then of course Falcon calls his drone, the Falcon drone, which drags Spider-Man away. And he's just like, couldn't have done that sooner. I hate you.
That was I guess one of my favorites. So good.
So Jay, before we get into our number ones, do you want to go through your honorable mentions? I have two. I only did two.
I had two. It was Spider-Man: Homecoming, and then like we said, already discussed before, was Black Panther was right there as well. But yeah, Spider-Man: Homecoming I thought was very enjoyable, and it was very flawed here and there, especially towards the final act. And I loved Peter Parker. I loved seeing him in his proper format. That we never really got truly, like having like a real teenager play him in school and then having these real world issues.
Side note, did you see Tom Holland on Lip Sync Battle?
Oh, yes, I have.
For those of you who haven't seen Tom Holland on Lip Sync Battle, go watch Tom Holland.
Go watch Tom Holland.
Lip Sync. And then remember, as he's doing these dance moves, that he was on the stage play for Billy Elliot. He was Billy Elliot in the stage play.
Yeah, so, and it shows.
And it shows. But goddamn, dude looks good. Dude looks good in a corset.
Dude, this kid's going to be exciting in the future.
Yeah.
He's so young, and he's got such a talented future ahead of him.
We've seen him act amazingly in The Impossible, right?
Yes.
Like that was such an amazing film. He was so young. He was like 12 when he made that.
He has the dramatic range, which is fantastic, which is so necessary.
All right, and then what's your second honorable mention? Black Panther.
Yes, and we discussed that.
Yeah, we discussed that at length. So my two honorable mentions are Iron Man, which, we talked about that already. Yeah. And Thor Ragnarok.
My number 5.
I had such because I wanted to put Thor Ragnarok on the list. I really did. And I think its rewatchability is up there, but I can't help. I'm a Cap fanboy. So Cap just winds up topping my list a lot.
I know. You have the Cap shield tattooed on your skin, not Thor's long flowing blonde locks.
No, it's true. We got to go through some of our squad mates who reached out to us and let us know what
Interesting list.
Yeah, there are. So Earth 919 podcast at Earth 919 pod on Twitter said, so this is 1st to 5th. Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, Avengers, Thor Ragnarok, and Iron Man 1, which I respect that list. Like, honestly, I like all the MCU films. I'm not going to knock anybody's list too hard. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, your list doesn't match up with mine. It's all about rewatchability. It's all about taste. And that's one of the things that's great about the MCU is that as much as you may feel like it becomes paint by numbers at a certain point, it does have variety and it does have taste level in it.
Yeah.
So CNC Geekcast at C Geekcast, not ampersand, full word, and on Twitter says Civil War, Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther, and Ant-Man. And you're going to see that becomes a theme. Ant-Man gets a little bit of love in here. Now, Wesley Younger from the Via VHS podcast is going to be joining me to do those phase 1, 2, and 3 of the MCU for our month of April. His number 5 is Iron Man. His number 4 is Winter Soldier. His number 3 is Civil War. His number 2, boy after my own heart, Guardians of the Galaxy. And his number 1 is still The Avengers. Movie Mayhem Podcast at Movie Mayhem Pod on Twitter says number 5, Thor 3, number 4, Black Panther, number 3, Avengers, number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, and number 1, Winter Soldier. The Babe and the Bro at The Babe the Bro on Twitter. Anything that has this dude with a picture of Chris Evans. And then he went on to say, including this, and they showed him as Johnny Storm, and I just said, no.
No, thanks.
So Wizard Podcast at So Wizard Podcast on Twitter said number 5, Black Panther, number 4, Captain America Civil War, number 3, The Avengers, number 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, and number 1, Captain America The Winter Soldier. Our boy Rob from the Fan Film Boys podcast at Fan Film Boys, that's BOYZ pod on Twitter.
Yo, buddy.
Said number 5, Thor. Number 4, Avengers. Thor fucking 1. I hope he means Thor 3. I should have asked for clarification, but I didn't. But he has a weird list, so let's keep going. Number 3, Black Panther. Number 2, Iron Man. And number 1, Captain America, the First Avenger.
Respectable.
So here's what I'm wondering. Has he only seen phase 1 of Marvel? Because those are all phase 1 movies except for Black Panther.
I'm pretty certain he's talking about Ragnarok.
No, I don't know, man. Nick and Vince's podcast, at Nick and Vince on Twitter, says 5, Black Panther, 4, Winter Soldier, 3, Civil War, 2, Thor Ragnarok, and 1, Avengers. My boy, Duty Dutrum, over from the Shaken Not Nerd podcast, that's at Shaken Not Nerd on Twitter, says number 5, Avengers, number 4, The Winter Soldier, number 3, Civil War, number 2, Guardians Volume 1, and number 1, Ant-Man.
Wow.
Right? He's the second person to put Ant-Man at number 1.
Very cool.
This list.
Yeah, that's
a lot of Paul Rudd love.
That's interesting.
Netflix and Swill, this is Dan over there. Fellow Podfix brethren, just like Fan Film Boys and Shaken Not Nerd. Number 5, Iron Man. Number 4, Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 3, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Number 2, The Avengers. And number 1, the only person to put this in the number 1 spot, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Well, I mean, people love Spider-Man.
He admits that
people
Spider-Man,
love Spider-Man
is there because it is his favorite Marvel character. He's always related to the character and just really enjoys it. And
I get it.
Jay, we've come time for your...
I feel like we may have the same number 1, but I'm not positive.
We probably do. What's your number 1?
Captain America, Winter Soldier.
My number 1 is Captain America, Winter Soldier.
Just rewatched it again.
It's just such a perfect...
before I even knew I had to do this top 5. It's just out of pure wanting to watch the movie because I really enjoyed it and I haven't seen it in a little while. And it just reaffirmed...
It's a perfect marriage of...
how good it is.
Of a superhero film and the Bourne Identity. Like that type of spy thriller. Like, it's so perfect. And
the Russo brothers,
first time out in the Marvel universe.
And hello.
It's just amazing. Like, when I think of like cinematic scenes from this movie, like, I love that scene of we just see that disc flying down the street and it attaches itself to the bottom of Nick Fury's
well, at the very
SUV.
end of that scene.
Right.
I was
when
just
he's walking through the smoke.
Right, but I was going to talk about the whole sequence.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that's a long action sequence.
It's about 10-12 minutes.
Really well done. And that's just fucking Nick. You know, Samuel L. Jackson must have been working his ass off during that time.
And that's coming right before the scene where Cap has to chase the Winter Soldier across the rooftops too, which is also like the film does a really fantastic job of taking you like through these ebbs and flows and these high action moments and then bring it down a little bit and then bring you right back up with another high action moment. It's really done fantastically. It's paced fantastically well. And then so like we get that scene where the Winter Soldier's walking through the smoke and he's covered up. And at this point, I knew he was Bucky the entire time because I had read the Captain America number 1, which is written by Ed Brubaker, which is this was based off of. But it was just seeing it on screen, like for me, it's like this is what comic books on screen should be. Right, like,
and this is also like my kind of favorite movie genre,
right,
mixed in with a superhero movie,
exactly,
which is also probably a good reason why it's not my number 1.
But then my favorite fight in the film comes when they're on that overpass and Cap kind of like they jump off the overpass and stuff like that, and we get that scene where the Winter Soldier runs out of bullets and he takes out that knife and he's just like. And like,
flipping it around, just my lord,
so
baby,
awesome.
And it goes on for a little while. And it kind of pauses,
right,
and then it goes back again.
And that fight scene feels a lot like a Bourne fight scene where it's just like a lot of like blocked blows and stuff like that. And
also seeing how his arm works too. Like, like it pushes in and like he can kind of like
and then all the
crank it and then
all the segments like open up and move out and then like come back in.
It was interesting.
And I love that part where Cap blocks his stab and he drops the knife, catches it with his other hand,
and flips it, and then
goes.
It was so awesome.
Fucking awesome.
That's so cool.
It's so cool. And it has one of the most heartfelt endings as well, where your hero doesn't punch his way out of it. Like he's Cap's beaten at the end. Like
technically,
physically, he can't match him. He can't beat him. And he knows that. And the only thing he can do is appeal to his friend's better nature.
And abide by their promise a long, long time ago with you to the end. And whether that's stuck or not, it got him to go after him and pull him ashore.
I loved the way that Anthony Mackie was introduced. I love that whole
Anthony Mackie was fantastic in this, and I thought they did a great job as really just showing like what they should do, a modern day military man, and being combined with Cap, you know, and then seeing how their similarities are and their humor are and their, you know, compatibility and loyalty and friendship, and then seeing Black Widow's chemistry with Cap and how great that was.
A completely platonic relationship, which I loved. I loved it.
And their quote unquote romantic moments were all simply out of necessity to survive. Staged.
Yeah.
And also, gosh, I mean, Black Widow, she has some awesome sequences in here. A lot of cool kick-ass moments, a lot of cool intellectual moments, decision-making moments. Like
I also love the fact that Cat puts on the old outfit at the end.
Yeah.
It's just, oh my God, the elevator scene.
It puts a smile on your face.
The elevator scene. Jesus Christ, so many good things. That's why it's our number one. So if you agree with our lists, great. Reach out to us on Twitter. Let us know. If you vehemently disagree with our list and you can't stand our list and you want to tell us, reach out to us on Twitter. I don't care. At Super Movie Pod on there.
Do it.
If you are interested in more of our beer reviews and the beers that we review on the show, you can check us out on the Untapped app, which is UNTAPPD. That's the Untapped app on iOS and Android. If you want to check out the network and all the great shows that we're involved with, you can check those out at www.podfixnetwork.com. Been doing a lot of little crossovers lately. So look forward to them. As always, you know, I am a co-host on the Fan Film Boys podcast. Boys! So make sure you check out that. That's where we talk about things like the MCU and we see what fans with a camera can do with that source material. Sometimes it's fantastic. Sometimes it's laughably bad. But no matter what, it all comes from a place of love. And I love doing that show with Rob. And then make sure that you're also checking out the Podfix Presents A Certain Point of View, because that is our Star Wars show that I am heading up. It is 7 episodes. We are currently on episode 3 right now, so make sure you're checking that out and you're giving that a shot. If you're a Star Wars fan and you're anything like me, you definitely want to be listening to that. So I want to thank everybody for listening. Have a great night and cheers.
Cheers.